Once you have the layout checked by the teacher, now what we need to do is, before we cut the miters, we're going to cut the rabbet. So let me just show you. All right, so this just happens to be a scrap piece I got laying around here, but this is kind of what we're going to end up with. This might be a side. So you can see the angles the miters are going in. And if I flip this over on the bottom, this is what we call a rabbet. Okay, so before the dado was a groove, this is just what we call a rabbet. And what's going to happen, we're going to use the same kind of box bottom material, but you'll see the material is just kind of, we're going to make a little shelf for the tray bottom to be glued in there. So when we cut the rabbet, we need the rabbet to be on the inside, so it's going to be on the shorter side. When I say shorter side, right out here is the long side, and then it gets short as it goes in, so it's going to be on the short side. It's going to be on the inside and on the bottom. So inside, bottom. So step number 6, all right, is going to be to cut the rabbet. All right, and we're going to use the router table to cut the rabbet. So let's go see how it's done. So here we are at the router table, ready to cut our rabbets. So the first thing, got to make sure that we have the proper setup. So see the teacher to make sure that we have it all set up to cut the rabbet. All right, and here's our board. All right, we know which way is up because of the words, right? That's up. And what we want to do is we want to rabbet the bottom inside. So when we router this, you can see the angled lines are going down. The short side is down against the table, and the bottom is up against the fence. And we pretty much just run this thing through, right? Keep your hands out from underneath the orange guard. Just go ahead and run this thing through. I will tell you, this is not a nice, easy process. Sometimes it chips and splinters and it starts and stops, so it's okay. You're not going to get hurt as long as you keep your fingers out from underneath that orange guard. Just go ahead and slide this thing through. If it doesn't quite come out right the first time, just go ahead and cut it a second time or a third time until you get it right. Now that you have your rabbet cut, it's time to start cutting the miters. All right, so what we're going to do this time, last time we clamped all our work to the left-hand side of the table. This time we're going to clamp to the right-hand side of the table. So I can see my first angle is right here. So my 45-degree angle is this way. So again, there's this little metal tab here. We slide this over, and I let go of the metal tab, and what I do is when I get near the end, I kind of push it, and you can hear it. It clicks in, it locks in. If you have to look down the window and see if it's at 45 degrees. All right, so now, again, we talked about the accuracy in measurement. Now we're talking about the accuracy in cutting. So what I want to do is I want to put my saw blade right next to the line. I put my saw blade right next to the line. We're going to take our quick clamp again. We're going to go down as low as we can. We're going to go ahead and we're going to clamp this thing in place. All right, firmly. We absolutely don't want this thing to move. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm a righty, so I prefer to kind of do this the opposite way. But I'm going to put my left hand on the trigger, and my right hand is out here behind the clamp, to the right of the clamp. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this. Again, kind of the secret to this is go slow. Okay, go down slow, get to the bottom, turn off the saw, wait till it stops spinning, and then go ahead and raise it back up. If we cut it correctly, I took just most of the line away here, but you can see, right, don't know if you can see that or not, but I still have some pencil mark there from my original line. So now what I want to do is I want to cut right next to here, and I should come down right on that line. But now I'm going to have to spin this thing at a different 45-degree angle. So I go ahead and I spin it at a different 45-degree angle. I line up the blade. I've got it next to the line. I clamp my work to the fence and to the table. Again, I check it's up against the fence. It's sitting flat on the table. Again, I'm not going to hang on to it over here. I'm going to hang on behind my clamp. Slow. And that didn't work. The clamp is hitting. I got to spin this around. Try that again. Raise it up. There's my first piece. Spin it 45. Clamp it firmly. It's all lined up. Cut it slowly. This piece has a tendency to wiggle around and it hits the blade and it goes flying. Advance it again. Spin my angle. And continue on cutting those angles. After the second to last cut, we have to flip things around a little bit. So you release the clamp. What happens if we advance and try and cut here right now, I have no place to clamp over here. So what we're going to do is we just rotate it, flip it around, change my miter angle to 45 this way, line up the saw blade, and we're going to clamp on. We're going to clamp on to the very end here. So this is the only cut that we actually flipped it around. So now you can see that the rabbet is actually facing outwards. So we can go ahead and we can cut that last miter. Remember, the whole objective is to get two matching pairs. You can see this is flush, so they're exact same length. Same with my other pair, they're good to go. If they don't line up, come see me and I'll help you tune those up.